Der. Ja, dann mache ich das mal aus und tausche nachher Batterien. Brauchen Sie ja gerade nicht. Und du, ja genau, unmuted. Ist der unmuted? Ja. Okay. Screen ist on. Ja, das mal kurz gucken, ob richtig.
Wir haben noch eine Sache, bedeutet, ich kann den Screen nicht sehen. Kann man den ein bisschen drehen?
Ja, von mir aus. Achso, ich schau kurz. Okay. So, schau. Das ist ja. Läuft? Ja, müsste. Also, gerade habe ich mich noch gehört. Ja, ist okay. Ich habe das gerade nicht an. Okay. Aber überträgst du schon? Ich übertrage jetzt schon, ja. Also, ihr könnt auch die Kamera jetzt einstellen. Das ist der Pointer, ja? Ja, genau. Okay, soll ich starten? Also, der Person, die da vor der Kamera sitzt, sagen, sie könnte ein bisschen zurück oder woanders hinsetzen, wenn sie nicht im Bild sein will. Wer ist das? Neben rosa T-Shirt. Rechts von dir aus gesehen jetzt. Ich höre dich. Ja? Ja. Jetzt.
All right. Good. Let's get started. Welcome to ProductTank Düsseldorf. We are so happy to see so many faces tonight. I've been doing ProductTank now for 4 years. I think Alex, you have been doing it for 6 years, Anna for 5. And I personally haven't seen so many on the top on a ProductTank event. So that's really great. And I hope not only the hype topic generative AI has attracted you, but also a little bit of networking and getting to know new people, getting a little bit active in the community has also attracted you. I've been looking through the list and there were a lot of signups coming in. And I think we had about 18 first-timers. Yeah? So we're happy to have a lot of first-timers to the event at ProductTank. Before we getting started, always a little bit of organizational stuff, a little bit of housekeeping. The toilets are over there. You may have already seen. I just went into the kitchen and looked at the pizza, and I wanted to say there's more pizza in the break. And on the photos, please don't sit in the front. And if you on a photo, just tell me in the break, okay? All right, we are getting started. I will give you a short introduction about ProductTank, and then we are getting right into our great speakers that are here tonight for us. All right, ProductTank. For those who don't know ProductTank, ProductTank is the world's largest product community by product people for product people. And that means everyone that is working on a product that is trying to create business value and is going to bring some positive change for a user or for a customer. So it's not only product managers, product leaders, but it's also for engineers, designers, and everyone who's working basically in building great tech products. We have about 200
product tanks worldwide in different cities. Düsseldorf is one of them. And we organize these events to bring product professionals together to learn from each other, to learn from their insights, from their successes and their failures. And you can also exchange your experiences in the breaks. And that's why we also have the speakers today to share their stories about generative AI. All right, that looks a little bit stretched on. Maybe someone can see if you can get it fixed. But I'm just going to continue. I think you can get the point. If you want to get involved on a product tank, you can talk to Alex or to Anna. She's over there, to me in the break, if you want to have a talk. Yeah. If you have an idea on a talk you want to give, just talk to us and we will get it organized. Another point is you can host or sponsor a product tank event. If your company wants to sponsor it and you want to have this many people on such a great topic in your company, just get in touch with us. Or you can also write on Mind the Product, or you can become a member to read more about product management on Mind the Product. All right, and thanks to our sponsor. Maybe we can give Sören a little bit of applause. He's over there. For giving us the space here at the great office and preparing the pizza and the drinks and so forth. And here's the Product Düsseldorf team. My name is Mark. I work as a product consultant at Concentric to help companies to build better products. As already said, there's Anna. She's over there in the back. She works as a business lead at Picnic. Victoria cannot be here tonight, unfortunately. She works at Aldi in strategy and operations, and we have Alex who works at Aeon One. He's over there. And for Alex, it is home match tonight, right? You worked it here at Trivago, and he's going to moderate through the evening. So let's get started. Also a warm welcome to those who are online. You can watch the event also as a streaming or can watch the recording if you missed something on the slides later on. All right, so let's get started with Alex and the speakers.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to hold the suspense a bit more. I know Mark said, like, I'm going to, immediately after he talks, is going to be the great speaker. I'm not that great speaker he was mentioning about. I want to, it is homage because I broke a lot of stuff. I had the chance to break a lot of stuff in Trivago, so it's always fun to come back. Also, this area was not for presentation. It was for wilder things and wilder times, and I hope that still takes part and takes place. I want to kind of get a feel of the room before we get started. So how many of you here are actually product managers or product leaders? Could you raise your hand? All right, quite a lot of people, you poor souls. All right, how many are working or planning to work with Gen AI or have already worked with Gen AI? Hands raised. All right, cool. And who has the opportunity or is looking to integrate Gen AI into their product in one way or another, at least experiment with it? Hands up. All right, no, not that many. All right, hopefully we can, the speakers today will be able to pique your interest. And I'm very happy to announce that we're gonna have, because you're so many, we're gonna have actually a second meetup about Gen AI. Won't be in person, will be online. I'll tell you more about it after the break. So that's like incentive to be here, plus the pizza should work. And I'm really excited to welcome our first speakers because when Sören told me like, hey, we're actually doing stuff already, I was like, cool. And then a few days later, I have 2 more speakers that I want to invite. We're going to present together. And I thought like, hey, it's Gen AI. So maybe they're like data scientists and data analysts or data engineers, and they're going to talk about how they integrate this stuff. And then I look at the bios, and it's like, one is a user experience designer, right? And the other senior product designer. It's like, this is amazing. Like, this is what it's about. It's not just about the data and about the algorithms, right? It's about delivering the whole experience. So without further ado, I'm gonna invite Sören and Shivam and Shahrukh to talk to us about from impossible to possible, how Gen AI can unlock new possibilities in hotel search. Let's give a hand for the speakers.
Thank you, Alex, for the nice introduction. Hello, everyone. Great that we have so many people here. It's a little bit crowded, so I hope everyone has a seat. So also welcome to Trivago. we are not only hosting, but we are also kind of sharing our story. I guess most of you are familiar with Trivago. So we are hotel meta search. So we compare deals from hundreds of booking sites to help you to find the ideal hotel at the best price. So and I would say like we are a typical tech product company, and we will see some of it today. I'm joined by Shivam and Shahrukh. Both are product designers, as Alex mentioned. So we can beyond my narrow product perspective and see it from different angles. And we quickly want to say hi and then right into it.
So yeah, thanks, Zoran. So hi, this is Shivam, and I currently work as a senior product designer at Trivago, and I've been here for I think more than a couple of years now. And I'm currently leading the design experience for AI-driven semantic search. And yeah, that's pretty much what. Thank you.
Thanks, Shivam. Soren. So I'm Shahrukh, and I joined Trivago like more than 3 years ago. And I've been also working on like cross-platform designs for Trivago, and mostly focusing on content area, like how we can solve content user problems for the user. And yeah, that's about me.
Cool, thank you. We keep it short. So, yeah, my name is Søren. My background is in computer science and business. I had my own startup, worked in digital strategy consulting, and I'm now here in Trivago, focusing on AI use cases. So let's get started. So our presentation is structured into 3 parts. We will give a introduction, then we will dive into 3 concrete use cases we have done, and then we take a step back to see how should the product development process change in the age of AI. So let's get started with the introduction. Some of you might have experienced some AI fatigue, right? So it's everywhere. Everyone is talking about it. At least my LinkedIn is like 50% some AI stuff. And some people have compared it to blockchain, right? So it will change everything. Everybody's talking about it. The potential applications are endless. And we hear this for artificial intelligence as well. And the question is, how much substance is there and how much is hype? And I think it's problematic to say it will change everything. It doesn't have to. So we are focusing more on it's a very useful and powerful technology already now, and it doesn't have to change the world. Maybe it does eventually, but this is not what we are focusing on. And if you think about the comparison to blockchain, we believe it's also very different because we already see a couple of success stories of AI. So it's actually not a new topic, has been around since the 50s. And there are a couple of success stories like beating the chess grandmaster, winning in Jeopardy, or more recently winning in AlphaGo, in Go, which is a more complex game. And what was used, a deep reinforcement learning algorithm, which was playing against itself billions of times within a day, and then was beating every Go player on the planet. So these are already success stories, but it's not only games, but X-ray image analysis, protein folding. So there are many use cases. But we are product people, so we focus more on like tech products. And here we can see it's already an integral part of all tech products. So this is nothing new for you. So you see Amazon recommendations, speech recognition, face detection in Google Photos, translation, search, autonomous driving, your social feed in Facebook, all enabled by machine learning and AI. And we as Trivago, we also use it to compose our results list. So which hotel to show in which place is also powered by machine learning. So this is nothing new. But then last year, something happened and we had this iPhone moment. I'm not sure whether it makes sense to call it like this, but this guy did it. At least we had a couple of breakthroughs, especially in generative AI, which kind of extended the possibilities of AI by a lot. And this guy is particularly happy about it because if you look at the stock price, it has skyrocketed. So, and it's valued with 2.2 trillion at the moment. And this is another indicator that AI has substance. Doesn't mean that the market is always right, but this indicates, okay, there's probably something to it. And just to put it into perspective, 2.2 trillion, I looked it up, it's kind of more than 30 times Volkswagen. And Volkswagen is kind of the largest car manufacturer in the world. 600K employees, hundreds of production plants, huge. And this is like 30 times more. And even they're not even producing the chips themselves, right? They're fabless, so they're just doing the chip design. So there you can see like how powerful this technology can be. So to conclude, for us, it's not a hype. It has a lot of substance, but you need to see it doesn't need to change the world. But what are the use cases? And now bringing it back to product. Usually we think in this problem space and in the solution space. And with AI, what it's doing, it's kind of extending the solution space by a lot. So you now have new technological possibilities you didn't have before. And the question is how to react to it. Do you just do business as usual and start from the problem? Maybe I can use AI, maybe not. Or are you having more tech-driven innovation? And we also looked outside. So how did others react to it? So on the one end, you have Expedia. They were very early, launching a chatbot in the app. Maybe also because Sam Altman is in the board of Expedia, but they launched it pretty early. We don't find it that meaningful because it's kind of not integrated with the product, and also the numbers they share, it doesn't seem to have a big impact. On the other end of the spectrum, you have more like Brian Chesky, more like the visionary, saying, okay, we don't just supplement our product with AI. Airbnb will be just an AI travel agent. And then you have something in between, like Kayak or TripAdvisor. They have done some tactical use cases with AI, for example, summarizing reviews. And you also have some big players like Booking who say like more like wait and see to see where is actually the value. And then we need to decide, okay, what is our reaction to it? And overall, we are very bullish on AI, and we want to move fast. But of course, we want to test carefully. And we also want to balance the user understanding and the new AI capabilities. So we don't want to do AI just for the sake of it, but we also want to solve a real user problem. And based on that, we came up with 3 use cases. We started last year, and we will run through each of these in a second. So we have the chatbot, we have the hotel summarization, and the natural language search. So these are 3 concrete use cases we are working on right now. And for us, it's more like a portfolio. So these are different kinds of features and also different kind of complexity. So we want to see like different types of AI usage. And with that, I would like to hand over to Sharuk for the first use case, the chatbot.
Thanks, Oren. So yeah, I mean, you get a little bit of understanding about like AI and how we're leveraging that. And we have like a couple of use cases. We actually had like more use cases, but we identified these 3 use cases. So first one to begin with, travel assistant chatbot. So it's basically based on ChatGPT. So you might have seen on a lot of platforms, they're using ChatGPT to help user to to achieve their goals. And we identify this main user problem that we have in Trivago. So every time you come to Trivago, you should have particular destination in mind. So let's say you want to go to San Francisco, but you're going there for the first time, but you don't know where to stay, right? So we identify this use case, like how we can help user to help them to see what kind of places they can stay in San Francisco. So let's say you go to, you search for San Francisco, and then you going through some hotels, and then you see this card, need help planning your stay, and then you tap here, you go to the ChatGPT screen. So there you can actually ask questions to ChatGPT. Like, for example, you can ask, what are some good places to stay in San Francisco? And then it will show you the list of places where you can stay. And if you tap on it, it will show you the places that you can stay, maybe mostly on the hotels listing, but not exactly the point of interest. So that actually comes to the lessons learned. So what did we actually learn by implementing this? So we saw there was some gap between this ChatGPT and Trivago search. So first one is basically how to integrate with Trivago search. So when I say Trivago search, I meant we can't show images on the ChatGPT interface because there was some limitation from ChatGPT side. So you can only show text-based information, and which was actually a bit difficult for the user to consume. The second one, user find it very time consuming. So, I mean, you can imagine, right? You search for San Francisco, and then you tap again here, and then you go to ChatGPT, you write questions, you interact with it, but then you have to come back again and then do the search again, right? So yeah, I mean, we implemented that, and then, but of course, we learned something. Like we learned how people search for these queries, like how people search, what kind of prompts they use in their search. So yeah, those were the learnings for us. And then I will move to the next use case, which is summarizing hotel information. So as you can see here, so we have, so let's say you, okay, now I will change the destination. Let's say you're going to Amsterdam, and then you have information which I think you mostly have seen on booking.com, Expedia. So we always have this hotel description, and then you have reviews to take a decision on hotel, right? But how can we help user to summarize all this information so that they can have like points, and they can just read through 6 points or 7 points and just understand, okay, this is the hotel I want to go for. And what we did is basically take the description of the hotel and reviews, some reviews, and then basically summarize into 6 points, as you can see here, which basically reduce the user effort to search for information, to understand like, okay, this hotel provides X, Y, Z. And then this information also consists of some negative aspects of the hotel. So it basically just to balance it out, like, okay, this hotel has this positive key points and then some negative. And of course, with every AI feature or every like artificial intelligence or machine learning, you also have some challenges on the design. So first one is the main one, like how you can change the output of AI into like Trivago's voice and tone. So it doesn't look like very robotic language. So a big kudos to copy team, which actually came up with the guideline, and they basically helped us to integrate into the output of AI. So whatever output you're gonna see here, it's basically gonna have a layer of copy guideline. And the second one is human evaluation. So I think I can just give you one example. Whenever you write something on ChatGPT, it will give you a summary or something, like depends on what you ask, but you always like proofread it. So it's like something similar to human evaluation, right? So you always like cross check if this is the information you want to show to your users. And when I say human evaluation, we want to ensure the quality, the relevance. Like if we are showing 6 pointers, are those points even relevant to the user or not? And then some ethical standards so that we don't show some, I don't know, abusive language upfront. And then trust in AI generated content. But I'll just touch again on the second point. So we talk about human evaluation, and then we have like a couple of examples that we see. So this is one example, like I'm just using the title of highlights, and I'm showing it here. And so this is actually come directly from AI, which says sleep advantage, which actually doesn't really give any context, right? So what do you mean by sleep advantage? Like, are you gonna sleep more at this hotel? So which is something not clear. And then the second one is balancing of positive and negative highlights. So if there's a hotel and they have some renovation work going on, so it shouldn't be upfront. So if the hotel has like 9.0 rating, and then the first thing you're gonna see, oh, this hotel is going through some renovation work. So these two things doesn't really match. But of course, you want to be upfront, you want to be transparent. So you can actually look into the order of highlights. And then the other examples are like, duplication. So because this AI actually takes information from description and reviews. So there will be some examples where you're gonna have duplicate information. So on this one, like it says the same thing. So it says on-site parking and then limited parking. But then if you read the description, it says like, yeah, the parking is available nearby. And then this also says the same thing. Another example is, of course, you get some strange or weird highlights. So like this one, it says resident headliners, and then it just says Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears. So it doesn't really give you context, like what do you mean by this, right? And the last improvement that we currently working on. So, okay, we have text-based pointers, right? But what we have seen in the user interviews, like people always look for visual information. So if you say, oh, this hotel is very close to Amsterdam Central Station, what's the next thing you're gonna do? You're gonna search this hotel name on Google Maps and see if it is actually close to Central Station or not. But what if we just show the review next to it? That's one use case. The second use case could be, okay, we have this hotel has like elegant rooms, good amenities, and so on. What if you could just merge it with the images that can actually support this highlight? So it's just about making more trust to the information that we are showing using AI. And yeah, that actually just sums up the second use case. And I will hand over to Zoran to talk about the third use case. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahrukh. So I will continue with the third last use case. We even have the data scientist here. Aisha is here. So Alex, in case you have data science question, we are covered. So the free text search, this is kind of a bigger bet, more complex. And the general idea is to be able to understand natural language user input. You just type what you need, Spain, adults only, vegan breakfast, whatever, and you get the right hotels for you. And we are tackling a very specific user problem. So every traveler who has specific requirements, like I want to have a running track nearby, I want to have skyline view. These are all things which are currently not searchable on Trivago. So the only option you have, you can search for Barcelona for a destination and then go through all hotels yourself and see whether it matches your requirements. This takes a lot of time and effort, and you probably make a suboptimal decision. So the idea is to give you the right hotels and make it much faster. I think it's a great idea. The question is now how does it work? And we were thinking, how can we actually do it? Can we do it ourselves? Actually, we tried it in the past, but now we figured it probably makes sense to partner with one of the cloud providers. As we are with Google anyway, we partner with Google. And if you look at the AI tech stack, you see you have the infrastructure. So you need GPU clusters. We don't have our own GPU clusters. We need to buy it. We also cannot train our foundational models. You also need to buy it. But this is not enough. Just having access to a foundational model, this doesn't give you free text search. So we also need access to higher level services. So this is kind of the platform layer. And then with the data, this is where we are coming in. So the hotel data is actually our asset. And then, of course, building a proper product out of it. So this is kind of how we think about it from an AI tech stack perspective. And here you see an example how Google is organizing their tech stack. You can see it's not just the foundational models, but a lot of additional services, which can be used out of the box. And I want to highlight one key aspect of it. So this search is trying to turn from keyword search into a semantic search. So most searches in the past were like keyword based. So if you search for vegan breakfast and it is mentioned in the description, we can find it. But if someone mentions, oh, the avocado salad is great, we cannot find it, even though it would be relevant for the vegan breakfast people. So this is what we try to achieve, to get into a semantic search to understand the meaning. And a key enabler of this is a bit technical, but I think it's important to understand. This is based on embeddings, and embeddings is basically an abstract representation of our data. So we give them all our data, hotel descriptions, hotel reviews, and then this is being translated into numbers, vectors. And the good thing about numbers is you can calculate with it, and you can calculate kind of the similarity of the user query to the hotel across hundreds or thousands of dimensions. So this is our idea. The embeddings are not new, but what's new is how this can be generated. And you might wonder, okay, where's the AI in this picture? It's actually happening here, because how can we create these numbers? This is generative AI. So we are not generating text, we are not generating images, but we are generating vectors. So here the advances in LLMs also help to create much, much better embeddings, which then enable the semantic search and to have a semantic search in the first place. So this is what we are leveraging. So how does it go so far? So just as a disclaimer, we're still very early. But what we've learned so far, the Google offers a lot of stuff out of the box, and it's relatively easy to get to an 80% solution. So you have something which works. Like the first prototype we did in a day, and then you were able to search based on our data. But then getting it really good, this is a more complex part, and this is what we're trying to figure out. And the other learning is just having the best search is not enough. So for example, we did some user research. We showed them a search box, you know, this search can do everything for you. Just type in what you would do for your next trip. And then the users were confused. Oh, I don't know what to type in. So maybe they need some guidance, they need some inspiration, and we need to integrate it with the rest of our product. It then also has to work from a business perspective. So just having this super search doesn't mean it's a great product. So these are our lessons learned so far. So maybe next time we can share more. But with that, I would like to hand over to Shivam.
Yeah, thanks, Zoran. So for the last part, I'll quickly cover about the AI implication for product development, also from the design perspective as well, and how does it typically differs from the traditional design process, right? So before I get started, how many of you heard the word diamond during the product development process? Anyone? Or maybe have you heard about the word double diamond in the product development framework? Can I see some hands? Okay, so people do have heard about it. And for the people who don't know, so this is what the double diamond looks like. And this is like a traditional design methodology. And here it's a focus. If you look on the left hand side, it's focused more about the discovery. And on the right side, it's focused more about the development. And this is framework which is like proposed like in 2004. And this is a very popular framework for innovation. So when I started working on this Gen AI like 9 months ago, 9, 10 months ago, I started to use this as a reference point, right? But I realized like this is not working for Gen AI. And why I'm saying so? Because if you look on the left hand side of the double diamond, it's focusing a lot on the desirability aspect, like focusing a lot upon what do the user need. But I realized when working for Gen AI, we have to also work thinking in terms of backward, like what is the technology and what is it enabling. So this is something which is proposed by what is AI, like what are the common use cases. So we really don't need to just start thinking from the user perspective, but also to think of what other tech is enabling in all of the different way, in terms of discovery, in terms of summarization, and then thinking what are the user problems we can solve through it, right? And to illustrate it, this is a very kind of code I found from the intercom, which is like make the output work and then build the product envelope around it. So what is going different around in here is not thinking just from the user perspective, but also making sure that technology is really working because this is something new. And then thinking backward, like how can we really solve the user problem with the current technology and going about it. The second thing I want to quickly touch about, which is quite different in terms of designing for traditional product and versus this Gen AI, is the evaluation, which also Shahrukh covered. I think what is really different, if we look at the traditional methodologies, we do all sorts of like the quant and the qualitative metrics in terms of user interview, in terms of running A/B testing, and this is all fair for Gen AI as well. But again, what is really different for this Gen AI is this evaluation, because what is happening, like if we take example of traditional computer, right? If we get input as X, we'll get output as Y. But with Gen AI, if we get input as X, we really don't know what the output could be like. So it totally depends. It depends on the model. It depends upon the what kind of queries the user are typing, and it could vary a lot. So the evaluation becomes really important. And obviously, we have an amazing data scientist team as well to help us evaluate and quantify that. And just to code it, with Gen AI, we are designing for a probabilistic system that is dynamic and that reacts to inputs in real time. Again, if we talk about computers in general, they are more like deterministic system where we already know what the output could look like. But with AI, it's all in the gray side, and we really need to iterate a lot in terms of understanding what the output could look like, right? The third and the last point I quickly want to cover is this product iteration. And I think with Gen AI, there's a constant need to iterate our product more often. And this is the design you see, which we are kind of visualizing for the free text search, which Zoran was talking about. So we have the traditional search on the left hand side, and we are trying to have this free text search, which you see on the right hand side. We again are not saying like this is the best solution, but at the same time, we really want to ship it faster to iterate it and to see the value in terms of what are the response which we are getting and what are the queries the user is typing. And we really want to drive that as a way to innovate our product. So yeah, again to highlight, this iteration becomes really important when we are trying to define this process for the Gen AI. So yeah, in the beginning, I was talking about the traditional design methodologies. Now I was thinking like, what is the better way to represent it? Because this is really not tackling all the different things in terms of refinement or in terms of definition. So I was thinking in terms of what is the better way to visualize the methodologies and to set a right expectation right from start. And I think we really need to have this in terms of definition when we are trying to define the problem, not only thinking about the user, but also identifying more from the AI driven way, from the technology's perspective, and constantly validating data. Because if the model is not working well, user will not having a very good experience also towards the end. So we really need to make sure that the model is working well and then identifying what are the core problems that can be solved through it. The second thing is also about the develop. So again, collecting all sort of diverse data set through all the different experimentation throughout the prototype of making sure like we are covering the different diverse data set during design and then launching the solution early because again, we really want to get it to the hands of the user to see the real input, what they're typing, and then focusing a lot on the refinement because again, at the first, the model might not work properly, but we really want to refine it again and accessing the performance of what user are typing and can we think of even some other problem which can be solved through it. So yeah, this is like what I see as a better way to represent rather than the traditional method. And oh yeah, one more thing, I think discovery is again really important. And so in Trivago, what we follow rather than traditional discovery, we have this continuous discovery because we are really customer centric. And at the end of the day, we really want to solve something which really benefit the user and not just for the AI purpose, for the tech purpose. So we are in constant touch with the user like every week, and we follow this continuous discovery to make sure we are really solving the real use case. So yeah, I'll just conclude with this amazing quote I found. Like, so it wasn't a place for people anyway. I mean, it was a place for things, and you make a place for things, and things come. I think it's very similar to what I could see for AI. Like sometimes back there wasn't anything with AI; it was a very unexplored place, and it's up to us how we are making the place for AI and think of better way to design the things and develop it. So thank you, and yeah.
All right. No, you can stay there. You can stay there. Maybe the other. Yeah, that was also your break, by the way, because it was slightly longer than the amount of time. So I hope everyone got to the bathroom. And I'm just messing. Let's take a few questions and then take a short break until the second call. So, question. All right.
Thank you. To the second use case, do you display the same information for every user, or is it different information at the same time for different users?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's actually one challenge that we also see because most of the cases it says, oh, clean hotel. And for other hotels, it also says the same thing. So what we actually currently working on, like how we can better rephrase it. But of course, in most cases, it's going to be same, but then give a little bit more context. So we also have description along with the title, which makes it different for each hotel. And we for the title, we actually just working on like how we can better rephrase for some hotels so that we have like more variations and we don't ended up saying the same thing for, I don't know, 100 hotels. So yeah.
We're going to be here a while. Like 50 hands raised.
For the ingestion of the data into the embedding model, which was the variable that, I don't know, moved the needle the most? Was it maybe tokenizing the right, eliminating the stop words, or chunking the data in a better way, or was it just a big context window? Can you tell us a bit more about which specific variables improve the score of precision or recall a bit more than the others?
A good question. We are figuring it out right now. I think there's no one big lever which has a big improvement, but you need to do everything right? Have the data in the right format, and you can do these optimizations you mentioned. We also rely on Google to some extent because they have kind of a pipeline where they use to get the data through to prepare it optimally for search. So this particular example is basically Google Search as a service. And for us, some of it is a black box, but we're working together with them to find out what are the best things you can do. I think in general, it's based on your data. So we are looking a lot into data enrichment. So how can we add more data? So with all these models, they start on a blank slate. They know they don't know anything. So that's why you need to provide the context. And also here, the more data you give away for the hotel, the better. I wouldn't worry too much about is the right format. I think these are like the last 10%, but it's more like getting the data in. And Google is very good in handled also unstructured data. You can also dump in non-textual data like images, etc.
All right, there was a hand here. You, all right, and then Kevin and Oleg. So all questions are given up.
All right, first of all, thanks for the interesting talk. I have just one question about the second use case about the reviews. You told us that you select some of the reviews that be part of the language model. Can you tell more about the approach? Which one do you select and how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a product designer. I mean, I can talk about like why we choose some of the reviews. So when you process like a lot of reviews, I think it's gonna add more cost to summarize it, and then of course we doing another prompt which actually combines hotel description and reviews, which adds more cost. So that was the reason like we choose like a small fraction of reviews, but I wouldn't say like we just choose like 5 reviews or 10 reviews. So if the hotel has like, I don't know, 1,000 reviews, then we choose like 200 reviews or 300 reviews, which actually just give you a sample, just an idea like about the hotel. Like this is the hotel is about, and this is what users are talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the point with cost is correct, but this is just a one-off generation. So cost is not that important than when you have a real-time use case like the search, where you have a request every time. So this content is more or less static, so you can generate it once, so the costs are not. And I think there was also the consideration to leave out like very old reviews because they might not be relevant anymore.
One question about the free text search. You said that users were kind of overwhelmed and didn't really know what to do with it. Did you figure out why that was? What made it hard for users to put in the free text?
I mean, you have to ask the users, but often users cannot articulate or express what they are looking for. It's more like a back and forth process. You show them something and then you say, oh yeah, this is good. Oh no, I like it more like this way. So think more like a typical travel agent. So it's showing you something and then you give feedback. No, I don't like these big hotels. I like to stay in smaller hotels. And then it shows you smaller hotels. Oh yeah, but I need to have a pool. It's more like this back and forth. It's probably the way humans think. So they cannot articulate the exact requirements upfront. So this is my theory.
Last question. I know.
All right, I will gonna be the last. So I have a question about the highlights for, let's say, for a hotel. How do you deal with the problem of time sensitivity? In the example you provided, there was a construction site, which is probably temporary, I hope. Thank you.
Currently, we do not deal with it. The thing you can do, you can generate all of the highlights based on the raw content. And then you can do some filtering. And we did it, for example, are there any bad words in it and stuff, some basic stuff. You could also come up with these cases, okay, like if construction site is mentioned, you can find it and you can remove it. So, but it would be kind of a post-process after the generation. As part of the generation, I think it's very difficult to do it. I mean, you can tell the model, but then you also cannot rely whether the model is sticking to it. Yeah.
This is like the best and worst moment for a moderator to have. All of the hands raised and not enough minutes. I want to give you more time, and we also have networking time. I would just want to make sure that we get all the speakers to talk and kind of give you the different perspectives on how they apply Gen AI and the struggles that they go with. We're going to have just a 5-minute break. And feel free to also kind of harass these wonderful people and ask more questions also. Sorry, no. Like you talk, now you have to answer. You lay things out there, like you're exposed. So 5 minutes, we're back at 10 minutes to 8. I hope I'm not. Hey. If not, could everyone else just occupy those seats to make the others regret? All right, let's get going. The second talk, I'm still not going to tell you about that other Gen AI meetup, so we're going to wait for the bigger break. But right now, I have Mark and Leonie from Sherlock, from CodeCentric, and they're actually, I love their title, like Lessons from the Field. So I'm wondering if they're going to talk about something that happened actually in an actual field. But it's all about Gen AI in knowledge and contract management, and I'm eager to have them present and see what they have to share for us. And we're waiting a bit for the presentation. We interrupt this moment for a special announcement. In case, I know there was somebody that was raising their hands, and I know what you were going to ask. Is this bow tie made of Lego? And the answer is yes, you can do that and mix hobbies and crazy weird passions. So good. All right, and presenter is gone. They're overrated. All right. With the kind sir, madam that left with the clicker, please bring it back. It's not fun anymore. Okay. All right. So without further ado, Mark and Leonie.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you to Trivago for hosting this nice event, and thank you for the organizers to inviting us today. Actually, I'm pretty much thrilled to be talking today about our product journey and our lessons we learned so far, and how Gen AI impacted this whole story, actually. So who are we and why are we here? This is my amazing colleague, Mark.
Hello and good evening. My name is Mark, and I'm one of the team members at Sherlock. And basically, the initial first lines of code from Sherlock, they came out of my fingers, and so I'm today the little bit more technical guy here who tries to do some product talk, and the real deal and the product knowledge worker right here, that's Leonie, and I hand over again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Leonie. I'm a business solution consultant. So I'm working close together with the customer, understanding their specific business challenges and providing them some solutions. We are working at the CodeCentric. It's a tech consultancy with more than 550 consultants. And we are aiming to provide customers with excellent software that has a sustainable impact. But today, it's not just the two of us. We brought our third team member, Sherlock, our qualified AI-driven clerk. So just a joke. What is Sherlock? Sherlock is a compilation of algorithms, models, and interfaces and tools with one big aim. It's to deduct knowledge and information from text, paper, and images. So today, we're not going to talk too much about Sherlock, but we're going to talk about how our journey started, what happened, and how we adapted to the fast developing Gen AI. So back then, about 2.5 years ago, increasingly more and more customers came to us at the tech consultancy because they were struggling with their inbox processes. So the situation was they were receiving quite a lot of inbox from multi-channels. And most of them customers, they already had a solution in place, input management suite, that were able to reduce their manual effort they put in, those repetitive tasks. But they weren't totally happy with the solution and with the performance for every single process. So they were asking us whether we could help and finding an AI approach on those processes compared to the rule-based approach that was existing before. And we had a big team of data scientists. We had the tech stack, the knowledge behind it. So we were able to create or to build up machine learning pipelines to actually solve those problems. And this was our first success. And we did it for one customer, and we did it for a second customer. And every time we did it, we identified that we invest quite a lot of manual effort for every single one of them. So the point where we're at developing individual customized software or shifting to developing a product. And we were thinking about the market. And the market was, we knew that the input management market was quite saturated back then. So there were big players we never wanted to compete with. But at the other hand, we had the AI environment and the big hyperscalers, from which we knew that they wouldn't fit in those small specific cases. So we identified the niche between the saturated market and the hyperscalers. So this was actually the turning point from when the challenges started, because we had challenges on a product level. We had to change our mindset. We needed resources to develop a product strategy, a product marketing, a brand, and not to even forget about the financials and to convince our investors. But it wasn't only the product level challenges we had also the Gen AI development, which is my colleague Mark talking about now.
All right. I just have to get accommodated to this. Perfect. So, all right. So, short recap. We came from a consulting standpoint, and we found some nice, good ways to standardize over a certain abstraction, and we were able to build a solution, some kind of a product. And our main asset was building AI models because we were really good at it. And our asset was building AI models for a really specific kind of topic. It was like getting documents digitized and probably getting some information out of it. And it worked well. And then something happened in 2022, 2023. And there was like GPT-3 coming up. And at first we were thinking, all right, is it the same space? What is it what we are doing? And we tried to figure out if this is a competitor or what can we do with it. So turned out it is some kind of a competitor, but maybe also not. And we've noticed some things. So first of all, we dreamed of something when building Sherlock initially, and it was a term named Gen AI, but not generative AI, but we set up something like general purpose AI. How great would it be to have something that simply understands what you're asking? And turned out this is Gen AI, generative AI right now, and it changed our problem space. So there was something with a huge marketing traction that was really smart and was able to understand language. And we saw certain adaptations, we saw certain examples where the same problems that we were picking up were already solved just by a few clicks away. That's honestly, that's really bad. You might think so. The next part that really changed, and as you see, Leonie went from there was this market, our idea, what we've did, and the potential. Now I'm coming back from the technology. I like the idea. It connects a little bit to our speakers up front when we look at the technology and try to get back to the use cases. The next part, which really took some adaptability for us, is the term training. I've heard it today a few times. The term training is quite dead, honestly. So it's not about training LLMs anymore. It's not about training huge models anymore. It's about providing the right information to complement the almighty general purpose knowledge that it took. And like GPT-4 is, I don't know, like 2023, August 2023, up to the whole history. And the last one is, again, a nice hint to the same slides up front from the talk before. The development is progressing really, really fast. So 1956, so first small, what is it, neural network popped up. It was called the Rosenblatt perceptron. It took like 1991 until Jan LeCun developed the first multi-layer perceptron out of it. But there were quite some years between that. And 2012, it was AlexNet, the first visual object detection, and convolutional neural network. Oh, there were also quite some years behind it. And we got more and more and more, and somehow it was 2018. There was GPT-1. There was 2020, GPT-2. 2022, GPT-3. Now we got 4 and Mistral and I don't know, Atrophic, and I don't know what whatsoever. So you see, the pace is really coping, and we are not talking about years anymore. We are talking about months, and there are huge fundings behind it. So what we could do, we had to change our goal. We had to change our goal, what Sherlock was doing. So when we were first thinking about building the right model for the customer, and we were quite branch agnostic. So we are a tech company, we are a consulting company. Most of the time, we try to be really agnostic to anything that goes into deep knowledge of our customer's business. Now the goal is different. Now the goal is to solve customer problems, but we build AI features, and AI features are not models anymore. We use general purpose models, but AI features are simply knowledge of our customers putting in the right place, trying to find the right things, trying to solve the hallucination problem and all that stuff. So it's not prompting. Prompting is too easy, I would say. But it's building an ecosystem, building the right platform to gather the right information and put it into the right context when asking a question to something like a big model, which reminds me a little bit to the search, honestly. And that's also different. We try to implement individual functionality in a really, really scalable environment, or in a horizontally scalable environment. And if we look at the markets, this changes also. So right before, we tried to optimize repetitive tasks. So we tried to just save some money. Honestly, I mean, that's it. Now we try to overcome a skill shortage. And we are not talking about repetitive tasks that no one wants to do. So we're talking about assisting and solving tasks that require really, really specialized knowledge. And that's a whole different level. So we are talking about a really, really skilled insurance assistant, and not about someone who finds 3 numbers on a piece of paper. And that's an interesting fact. The same way, what we saw, that's the part now, are we threatened or what's happening? I mean, we are riding the wave of a really, really big and highly growing market. So there's a lot of growth in there. There's a lot of new problem spaces that pop up, and sometimes I think it's not the best way to come from the technical side, but we have also a business side where we can connect, and we also find use cases that are real business use cases that can now be solved that weren't be able to be solved before. But now, let's not just talk about gut feeling, because gut feeling is quite easy. Let's get a little bit more into specific things. Not so too specific, but we promised you knowledge and contract management. So let's get down to our journey navigating product development and see what are some cases. And there are a lot of cases. I mean, we might not even stop to this evening to list everything. But I brought a study from Lündong. Probably a lot of people know Lündong. For us consulting companies, they are quite important. And they provided a quite, a really, really recent study from 2024 about the potential and about the uses of generative AI and the potential of AI. Anyway, so for the insurance branch. And let's have a look. So one part where potential of AI. So the question is about like 24 insurance managers or a lot of insurance managers got asked, where do you see a lot of potential of AI? And you see 91% see the potential of AI in risk management. So let's go down on the real use case. One of the cases, like know your customer, a KYC process, reading embassy. So going into risk management, having to read embassy documents, having to see and look up passports, gather public information, doing some open source intelligence, and really find the right information that gives your bank the possibility to rate you if you want to have a credit. For example, I don't know if it's called credit or a loan or whatever. And the other part, it's not so heavy, but we've noticed because we are working in this space, is contract management. And there are different ways of working in it. So the one thing is finding things in contracts, like finding the right participants, finding the right the law that's applied, and so on. But even more interesting is there's a huge space in one-off migrations. So there are so many old contracts, especially in health and life insurance, that are just lying there, probably or mostly undigitized. And these are so old, and you have to put them somehow into new systems because, you know, the world is turning still. And you have a lot of insurance companies, they're relying 100, 200, 500,000 contracts, and they search for people that just migrate them. So it's a really interesting use case where an assistant is really helpful. And we have basically built an assistant that actually gathers the knowledge and helps. And we can go on. We got the customer interaction, which is not only for insurance cases, but like everywhere. Domain knowledge in our German manufacturing industry and tender processes, a great helper. And where we come from, like document processing, IDP, intelligent document processing. Just to give you an idea, it's not concrete use cases, to give you an idea about the space where we can use it and the space where leaders in the industry really see the potential of this. All right. Lessons learned. First of all, when starting with a consulting background, and we thought we had the best model, like every AI company up front, we thought we got the best people and the best models, and we are saving the world with this. General purpose AI, showed us a little bit different. But from reducing repetitive tasks, we solved our tasks that really require some specified knowledge, branch knowledge. So building up the assistant, and if we quickly go back, building the brain, the hands, and the tools, which simply makes a small robot or assistant, and that's the whole idea behind it. And we went from a niche product strategy that really was placed in a saturated market. We took the chance, and we are now part of a growing market, which is quite ironic because in the first moment it was a threat to us. So what does it mean for product development? Before we had to build and train models. Now we have to take care how to get data in, to find the right user interface, so UX design, product design, and talk to the people in the branch how they use this product. How are they using an assistant? Effectively the same thing that Trivago is doing with their chatbot. How are you interacting with it? Do you really need a chatbot? Mostly not. So that's a small hint to this one. And what's the technological change? We have not so many of our own models. So we are using more an orchestration of a lot of stuff that's going on. GPT is not, it's the gold standard in some cases. It's really good in writing poems. But there are so many different models with so many different purposes and having so many different kind of cost factors that it makes much more sense to orchestrate. So to give you a small hint, we are on a real proof of concept right now with a larger energy company, and we are using OpenAI GPT-4 for finding certain terms in a contract. We are doing some contract classification, sorting, whatsoever, and we just wrote our own model, which is extremely cheap. So you can even flat the prices a lot because there are some simple tasks that you can really do on your own models, and there are a lot of tasks that you have to work with larger parts. So the idea, and this is the same that the CEO of Develop, DMS system, is saying, it's not one LLM that we should use. It's the orchestration of a lot of different technologies that will win the race. And this is how we are working. That's a compilation of everything and the idea behind it. And I just say, there's this one term, it's called Receiver Augmented Generation, RAG, and that's the best idea behind it. So you use a different model for creating the embeddings. Little hint to Trivago, you've shown the image. You use a different model to understand the user input, and you even use a different model, if you like, to simply generate the output. So you can have 3 LLMs with 3 different purposes and 3 different cost factors for 3 different parts of your product. And we didn't even talk about the database. So there's a lot of technological complexity behind it that has to be solved to be really user-friendly. Okay, so last parts, external factors. one thing that we really learned is if we want to adapt to such kind of a disruptive technology, we really need to let loose. So we were really proud of our models. We were proud of a lot of stuff we were doing, and we have seen that we are really bad. So that hurt. I can tell you that hurt sometimes, even if you, or especially if you wrote some code of it. And the second part that we've learned, and that's probably one of our consulting genes that are really good, hundreds of startups show up, and they are indistinguishable of what's going on. So everybody got an LLM. Every LLM is better than the other LLM. So there's Aleph Alpha, there's LIGO AI, there's GPT, there's Anthropic, there's Mistral. Everybody got the right large language model. The interesting part is to find out who's really doing some good new things, innovative things, or who got a sharp solution space, and who's just probably reusing. I mean, there are even a lot of startups that are simply reusing GPT and try to do something. Oh, that's us. Not really, but the idea, you get it. All right. We got a bit of time, so we can get the buzzlines. We have some facts, right? Well, I brought some facts to you together with Leonie. First one is get a real understanding of GPT. GPT, there's a German word that's used for paper tissues. It's called Tempo. Tempo is used for all kind of paper tissues that you can get. The same with GPT and even ChatGPT. And I just like to, to give something to the myth in the end. ChatGPT is a user interface. GPT is a kind of LLM, a large language model, a general purpose AI. That's from OpenAI. And it's one kind of, like the others too. And it's good to have this understanding. And as you've heard, different LLM architectures, they simply serve different purposes. And not a single one will stay the best forever. So building a good orchestration, finding out what suits you best, does really help. And it also helps to get into the whole space. And the third one, and that's the differentiator or our USP that we made or try to work out, and we are still working out in our product, is the differentiator for real AI use cases or good AI product is simply to get the branch knowledge right in place. So it's not about the training. It's not about the AI because it's for everyone and everyone can use it. But how to feed the right facts into it, how to feed the right knowledge of your coworkers or of your customers into it, that will be the key to really differentiate and to really make use of the AI. So far, call to action. If you want to talk about it, you are welcome. Just come over, ask us what you want to ask, and let's have a drink. Thank you.
No, keep it. You're going to need it. All right, thanks. We got plenty of time for questions. We're still going to get 5 minutes of questions. Like, treat everyone equally so we have more time for networking. Let's see some hands for questions. All right, one and then there. Yeah. Okay, no, fine. You don't get any more questions tonight.
Thank you. How are you handling the pricing? Because I assume the large language models you're paying by the API calls, does it factor, is it like a big fraction of your costs, and how much are you charging on top of it? Or is it just like a subscription service and then you don't care if a user abuses it? Yeah, could you give a bit more clarity onto this area?
Yeah, so as soon as we use large language models, they're basically cloud-based, like OpenAI or Azure GPT. I think it's Azure GPT or Azure OpenAI. We just, we just how to say that? We take the cost and we simply pipe them over. So there's no extra fee. What we try to monetize is our own models or our RAG solution. So if you have we got a knowledge management solution, which is based on a blueprint, which is quite agnostic and quite easy to adapt. So there's a price inside, and we really try to build everything up with open source models. But as soon as we need anything from a cloud subscription or cloud service, which is Azure OpenAI, we try to factorize this together, or try to find a good flat price, because we try to orchestrate smaller models, bigger models, and find the right, oh god damn it, and find the right way to combine embeddings, combine the right LLMs up front, and see what it takes for context length. It's always a mix, honestly.
He changed his mind.
No, I'm ready. I have a question about the example with energy company. You mentioned that you're using LLMs for essentially for the keyword search. So in the contract.
Yeah, it's not even a keyword search. So it's
So my question is, could you elaborate on this point? Like, what is the advantage of for the search within some data within the contract in comparison to, let's say, using traditional, search engines?
Yeah. We are talking about contracts in the renewable space, and I don't have the word for Bürgschaft. It's like an ownership contract of the land where turbines and solar plants are lying. And honestly, this problem simply was not solved. So we came into a proof of concept for where we got compared to two different solutions. One was Sherlock, one was GPT-4, and one was an own built solution based on classical AI-driven or machine learning algorithms. And in the end, it was a really head-to-head competition between GPT-4 and what we did in Sherlock. And the best result, honestly, is when we combine both. So we found ways where our own models and our own techniques work really well. And we found a way where really smart prompts, which is quite easy and doable, found the other last percents in certain categories. And that was also for the outcome the best solution and cheapest solution to simply combine these two, because otherwise OpenAI would explode in costs. Yeah, I can't tell the advantage except of there were it was a difference between 50% of accuracy. Yeah.
More questions? Don't be shy. All right.
I have just one question. I'm from the manufacturing background, and they are very afraid of everything that is cloud-based, and they would dare to give data to OpenAI, Google, whatever. Do you have the same problem with any of your customers, or are they? I guess just to give away the customer contracts is already critical.
Yeah, no, the customer contracts, basically not customer contracts, but the contracts I talked about, this is provided as a software as a service. So that's basically running in the cloud. Every other customer we are working with, we are working on premise. And if we need some huge computation power, we partner, for example, with Ionos, with the German cloud, and they provide a really nice stack for open source large language models. So we get the right AGBs, the right heuristical parts in place, and work together. So it's more of a hybrid solution, but most of the parts that we wanted to solve, we really can solve on premise. And that's one platform thing of Sherlock. It's quite agnostic. So from the beginning on, we tried to build an agnostic solution because we knew from the input management space, on premise is really, really important.
One last question. All right.
So thank you for the wonderful talk. I just had a question about the statistics you showed. It was quite interesting for me. You showed there was risk management and contract, and so there's a big dip. So it's from 91 to 35%. So do you know the reason? Why is it?
I have no idea about the reason. I could just make some assumptions. But this is completely about the digital outlook of insurance, just insurance. And they have a really, really strong legal department. You might you could imagine. So, and there is a differentiator between, or there's something, I think, a connection between like domain knowledge, which is also about contracts, and real contracts in terms of probably asset management, renting buildings and so on. But honestly, I have no idea. So I could imagine the dip in the different part of domain logic, domain knowledge. I'm not sure. That was all just an assumption.
All right, let's give a hand again for Mark and Leonie.
Thank you.
And Leonie.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna go into the next break. It's gonna be a big one. There's pizza. Pizza's back. So there's that. Now, I've seen everyone has a bottle. Can you show me if you have a bottle? Can you show me that wonderful bottle? All right. So I got a challenge from our wonderful organizer. They told me that they have in the kitchen, they have enough crates and trays to house all of these bottles. And I think we can prove them wrong. So I would kindly ask when you go to get your refresher to look for those crates and try and stack them up until there's no more space there. Then grab a pizza. And if you've been wondering, these are not to be left here. These are to be taken. So come on. If you have a missus there, or if you are a lady, everybody loves a tote bag. Come on, they're wonderful. So grab one, make them disappear, right? Otherwise, I'm going to take them all. I'm not shy. So please take them all. We're going to take a longer break. So we're back at 20 minutes to 9. Right. Me and time today. I need more coffee. So we're going to take a 20-minute break. Please feel free to reach out to the speakers so far. And we're going to come back with the last talk in at 20 minutes to 9. Yep. See you in a bit. All right, testing, testing. No. All right. Let's get going with the last talk. A few things before. Maybe this is gonna get everyone to budge and come back. I did say you can bring the pizza and yeah. I think the most successful kind of event where you don't have these issues of bringing everyone back is where the event and the presentations are actually in the kitchen, because there's so many cultures where it doesn't matter if you have a good dining table, it doesn't matter if you have like an amazing terrace. If the kitchen is big enough and there's a corner couch there or anything to sit on, that's where the magic happens. So we're gonna look for venues where I think Stepstone has actually, like, it's the bar in the kitchen and the venue itself successful. Like nobody left the presentation area because that was the same place. Good. I love that somebody asked in the last talk about legal considerations, and I love that because I'm not sure how many of you know, or let's see, do we have any podcaster in the room that uses Spotify for podcasting? Anyone? No. Does anyone know the recent slight scandal with AI and Spotify and their updates on podcasting? Any? No? Thank you. You know that. Good, good. So Spotify recently updated their terms, and basically what they said in their terms on podcasting is that I give exclusive rights as a content creator for them to use and reproduce and remix all of the content that gets recorded via the podcasting or that gets uploaded to their podcasting service. And of course, I looked into the comments because that's where the spicy things are. And what do you guess the reasons were that were mentioned there? Since we're on the hint, it's related to the theme tonight. They wanted, or what they're aiming for, is to actually have access to train their models, right? And there's also a lot of lawsuits and incidents that are coming up with a lot of models being trained on information that should not have been used for training. So I find that quite interesting a development, and something that's going to be interesting to follow on how this works in the future, and whether there's going to be a revenue share model, right, between the content generators and the content consumers or not, or whether we're going to have sneaky contract updates that don't clarify exactly what they're going to be using it for. So lots of fun on legal side. I did mention that there's going to be another meetup, and we try and get creative and be diverse in our topics, but actually we had so many speaker submissions for Gen AI and product that we're going to have another second edition of Gen AI and product. It's going to be an online edition towards the end of April. We're going to post it soon. And we currently have 2 speakers, but we're going to be looking for more. Since it's online, we might find quite a lot of interesting peeps and topics. So we might also ask on the meetup page what you're interested in and what kind of applications you like to see. Maybe we find something that's more relevant, or even more relevant on top of what we've already had. So now that you're wondering, like, how long is he going to talk? I'm going to stop with the monologue, and we're going to have our final speaker from von Rundstedt, a really cool company in Düsseldorf, and we're going to have Kevin Wechtel come and talk to us about Meet AI, your new career guide. Let's give a hand for Kevin.
Thank you so much, Alex. I'm happy to be here and happy to share a little bit on what we're doing as a non-tech company with AI. So it might be a little bit different, but I hope it's going to be exciting. And I want to start my talk with a simple question, and would be very interested to know if anyone in the room has ever heard of these words before. If someone could raise their hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, a couple, but not everyone. That's what I thought. Which means that what we're doing as von Rundstedt is maybe not as well known as what Trivago maybe does. So I will give you a little bit of background and a little bit of explanation so the whole talk makes sense. I'm not going to dive into these terms that we just saw, but what I want to do, tell you guys, is that we care all about people. It's all about people, and our company vision resolves all around people, and we are trying to accompany people that have been laid off from their companies. So people that have been laid off from their companies can come to us, and we will help them through this transition of a career change. And we are trying to make sure that everyone who is in this mostly forced situation experiences this as an opportunity. And on a day-to-day basis, what we're trying to do is really to give structure and security in this chaotic process, and making sure that people can identify their real opportunities and master at the end of the day this career change. And when I talk about mastering this career change, what I mean in 90% of the cases is that these people, they need a new job, right? We all need a job. We all have bills to pay. But not just any new job, but ideally the right job, something that is right for the person. And well, we as von Rundstedt, we have done this now for quite some time. We've been around for 40 years almost, still family owned and family led. And we're working basically with every company you can imagine across the board, mid-sized to corporates, all different industries, doesn't really matter. They all come to us. And that means that also the people that are coming to us, people that need help in their career change, are very, very diverse, right? Very, very different from age to background and hopes and dreams. They can be very, very different. And well, I'm playing with somebody is. Should I continue? Okay. And well, what does that look like in practice? Thankfully, not like this anymore. But this is I think a really cool picture. This is one of our founding father on the left. But you can imagine it still pretty much like this has been going on for the last 40 years. These job seekers would come into our offices and meet up with a designated coach that will then, over a time span of 4 or 5 months, even longer, will help them to find the job that they're looking for. And you can imagine how much this job seeker is dependent on this coach and the expertise of the coach. And that's why about 5 years ago, von Rundstedt has decided to go a little more digital. And they brought together a group of product people, and we are trying to do one thing. We're trying to build AI-powered products that make sure that our job seekers are receiving the most relevant information in every phase of this transition, so that they can make decisions easier, and that hopefully at the end of the day, they're experiencing an advantage on the labor market. And to understand a little bit what our product portfolio look like, so you can have an idea, there's 3 things that we've done. Firstly, we started to build an internal product line, low-code, no-code based, for our internal colleagues to optimize processes to make sure that their life gets easier. On the next thing that we've done is that we are building products for our job seekers. So we have a mobile app, for example, or we have a portal, which helps them through this transitional phase. And the other thing that we're doing, which you can't see it on the right bottom, is that we're always trying to integrate partner tools that make sense for us. So here's a Canadian partner that we've integrated that is providing a job portal. And you have a CV builder, for example, or a so-called job tracker, which we'll explain a little bit later on what that is. So now we can finally jump into AI and what we have done with AI. And I've brought one use case, and that is the use case of AI-based job recommendations. So why have we decided to look at this? Why job recommendations? We saw a challenge that is twofold, right? On the one side, we as von Rundstedt, we accompany around 4,000 to 5,000 job seekers every year, but obviously this is not where we want to stay, right? So we set the goal that in the next 3 years, we want to accompany about 100,000 job seekers, and that brings the challenge of scalability. We cannot do this manually anymore, right? So we need automated processes. So we have an issue of scalability. And on the other side, we have the job seeker and the job search itself. And I believe that any one of us has probably been in the situation of looking for a new job. And this process is really just quite messy, right? It can be very messy, can be overwhelming. It can be a challenging time. There's millions of job titles out there. There's millions of platforms out there that are trying to help you. So we asked ourselves the question, can AI make a difference here in this intersection? And we then broke this up into 2 things, and we decided to use 2 different frameworks for that. And the first one is that, well, we need to generate fully automated job recommendations. And we decided to go back then with the BERT model, OpenAI, open source model from Google. And we can now generate fully automated job recommendations for all of our users. And once we were able to do this, we said, well, can we now make these job recommendations a little more user-friendly, right? Can we integrate them into our user journey? And that's where we are leveraging ChatGPT. And this is what I'm trying to show you in a second. We're focusing on the user journey, so it's not going to be too technical. Yeah, when I'm talking about the user, I want to introduce the user real quick because that's not your typical user. The users that are coming to us, the job seekers that are coming to us, in most cases have been with a company for 10, 15, 20 years and have for this time span also not applied to any job, right? So this scenario is completely new for them. And they, in the worst cases, the jobs that they have done so far might not even exist anymore or will not even exist in the future anymore. So they really have to find something new that is really suitable for them. And one thing that they're doing in the coaching before we can jump into the digital products is that they have to figure this out, right? They have to figure out with the coach and define their profile. So that means they have to understand, what am I actually good at, right? What are my strengths? What are my competencies? And they have to understand what is important to me? What are my values? What are my motivation? And they need to have a little bit of understanding what the job market looks like and what is out there. And once they have done this, they can then start using our products. And we broke down this whole process into 3 different steps, right? And we're always trying to make life easier for the job seeker. So the first thing is that you got to start somewhere, right? You got to start searching. So we're trying to make search easier. And here we're offering a free text input. So a little bit similar to what you guys are doing, just very different use case. And a job seeker can put in everything that they worked out with the coach in the previous step and put it in here. Doesn't need to have any structure, could be bullet points, could be text, doesn't have to be in any order. And they can submit, and we will then use the BERT model, which we have fine-tuned for this exact case of job recommendations. And the BERT model is now reading and understanding what the job seeker has written and then matching it with the job descriptions that are out there, which the BERT model can also read and basically understand, and matching these two, even though there's not even a job title there that the job seeker provided. Once this happened, once we have created a job recommendation, the user has to kind of use it, right? They have to be displayed somewhere. And this is the next step where we're bringing in our mobile app. And we're trying to make it easy for the job seeker to decide whether or not this job is actually a good fit for me or not. And what they can do here is that they can swipe like in a Tinder-like fashion, left and right. Is this job a good fit or not? And the challenge that we had is that we had to put all the relevant information on this limited screen that we're having here. All right, so what we've done is obviously the title, the company, and the location, but the description usually is very, very long. And so we are now sending a request to ChatGPT in the background and asking ChatGPT to create a summary for the specific job description. And we can even narrow it down a little more and say, well, can you please briefly describe the company? And then also list the 5 most important skills that are needed for this specific job description. And once they've done this, right, once they've said, well, this is a job that I like, this is a job that I don't like, all of the jobs that they've liked are going to make it to the next step because, well, they still have to apply to this job, right? It doesn't help to just rate them. And they will now find their way into the job tracker that I've mentioned before, which is, well, a tool that tracks the jobs in a Kanban fashion. And they can basically click on one of those tiles and then have a detailed view. And we've noticed and learned from our coaches that these people that especially haven't applied and within 20 years, they have no idea how to write a cover letter, right? And the blank page can be kind of scary. And so we're sending a request again to ChatGPT in the background and telling them, well, this is a job ad. Can you please now create a cover letter? And here again, we're trying to make it even more personal since we have all the data of these clients, especially from the CV. We can say, please integrate the previous work experience that this person had and try to explain why this person, why this job seeker is a good fit. And these are the 3 steps that we're focusing on. So at the end of the day, a user doesn't really care what kind of technology we're using, right? They just want to have problem solved. And this is why we broke it down into the 3 steps: searching, deciding, and applying, and picked and choose different AI solutions here. And these can differ, right? And these will probably change in the future. which will already also bring me to my conclusion, which is that we just started with this, right? And we've just launched these products. There's so much more to learn, but especially for us as a mid-sized non-tech company, we saw this as a great opportunity, especially ChatGPT and how easy it is to call the OpenAI API. And we have lots of idea, but we probably are gonna start to evaluate and learn a little bit on what we're doing right now. And when I talk about we, obviously I'm not doing this by myself, but I have a team, and I'm happy that some of the people are here today. And again, I'm coming back to what I said in the beginning. It's all about people. And for the Q&A, I also now have a little bit of backup, Christoph and Nagme, who can also answer some technical questions regarding our AI models. And all I can say is, well, thank you guys, and open for Q&A.
I always thought it would fit Tinder for jobs, because you are dating kind of like, do I want to live with this person 8 hours per day or with this career? So happy to see it. It's put out there in a way. All right, cool. Let's have the questions. We have a bit more time, so first questions. Who wants to go? All right, there. First one.
I'm super excited about this situation. On the other hand, many people is going to lose their jobs, headhunters and all agencies. But AI will help the candidates to find the suitable jobs. This is very, very good. This is the positive issue. What is the business model behind all this? How you make money?
Remember the terms that I had on there on the first slide? Outplacement, interim company, workforce transformation. This is how we make money at the end of the day. So you can imagine like this, a company has to let go maybe a branch or a group of people, and they don't want to pay a severance package, right? Or they want to have maybe a more ethical way of releasing or letting these people go. So they can pay us basically to help them in this transitional phase. So we're taking these people over, we're guiding them, we're coaching them, and we are now trying to make this process more and more digital, right? But we get money because we're helping these people, and we're helping the company at the end of the day getting rid of these people. It's the companies are paying. Yeah, it's a B2B.
I would kindly ask the speaker to move back into the camera area. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
We'll now take our next question.
I would like to know, like, for example, there are more people in marketing and they type in like what they did, and it's most of the time the same structures. So how to define that not the same vita is produced?
Didn't quite get it. Can you try to reframe?
So when someone is working in marketing or sales and they are applying for a position in marketing, and how can it be that it is personalized? Because I believe that it sets out the wording.
Oh, okay.
And not that someone receives the same vita.
Gotcha.
Like,
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Now we're trying to integrate with the cover letter creation from ChatGPT. We're trying to integrate the specific data that we have about our job seekers. So we're collecting all kinds of data about them, especially everything that they put in the CV. We have all of that structured, and so we can say, well, please write a cover letter, but please make it personal, and please integrate the previous work experience of this person. And you also have to imagine that these people are not doing this all by themselves. They always have a coach by their side. And what we're doing is just a pre-work, right? They're not sending this out as it, but the coach and the job seeker will then together finalize and make adjustments. But we're just trying to eliminate the blank page so that there's already something that they can work with.
I'll take other questions. I'll get back to you.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. First of all, it's really cool. So I was just wondering, so losing your job is not the best place to be, and at this point, you're probably looking for a safe space and you would want to talk to people. So how much touch points are you eliminating by having AI in this process? That was question one. And question two is, what kind of efficiency gains, if you have a gut feel of it, are you experiencing as a company through implementing AI?
Yeah, so to the first question, the whole reason why we're doing this and why we are automating things is that our job seekers can have more time with their coaches, because the coaches and the people that are helping them through this transitional phase will not have to write a cover letter or look for jobs, right? So we're doing all of this so that the time that a person has with a coach increases. Because as you said, right, it's an emotional, there might be an emotional state, they might need help getting through this. And so we're making space so that they can do more of this and less of redundancy work, research work. That's one of it. And the other thing is that you can imagine we as a company, before we had to go in manually and research jobs. So that we had people would actually go Stepstone or whatever, have the profile, a CV open of the job seeker, look for jobs, and then send it to them. And now we can use the BERT model and everything, and it gets so much faster, right? I don't have any concrete numbers, but at the end of the day, you don't need these people anymore. We have the team changed from probably 12 people who've done this to now 2 people who are doing this. And they're working with our tools, also with our internal tools where they can also go in and rate these jobs before we send them out. So there's a lot of different ways we can do this. But we increased the number of people who had to do this from probably 10 to 2.
Do you also personalize the cover letters towards the job descriptions? So is there a unique cover letter for each job application?
Yeah.
Is that it? That was the answer.
Keep it short and sweet, right?
Give him trickier questions. You had a question, right?
I have so many questions, but I will limit it this time, right? Another one. Okay, combine 2 and 1. How many candidates you could place or outplace till now, or maybe it's a pilot project? And the second is, which level we are talking now? Which candidate will be suitable for this platform? Which level? Senior, CEO, or is it really beginners? I think AI can help a lot. But if there is no human control or supervisor, how you can, because the machine hallucinated sometimes,
Yeah.
They can put me like a singer, I don't know, and I'm not. But no. Back to the point. How many candidates you replace, and which level is suitable? This concept.
Yeah, maybe I start with the latter one. It really depends on how much these companies are paying for. So for example, there's a CEO, right? Paying a lot of money. So this coaching and what we're doing with them will look a lot different as if you have a blue collar worker, for example, right? The CEO expects something else. The CEO expect that we do all the work for them. And with blue collar workers, for example, or people that are maybe middle management or so, we put them all through the same user experience. We don't really make a big difference there because we're also still in a learning process, right? We started to create these products to make sure that they are being supported in every way of this journey digitally. And now we're integrating the AI stuff, but we're still kind of early and we still have to learn lots. That's why we're at the moment giving it to most of them so that we can learn the most, right? And the second question was how many people... So usually it's about 4,000 to 5,000 a year. But there's a lot of different factors, whether or not it is successful at the end, right? This is not just all about digital products. This is also, is the coach a good fit? Is this person motivated? And so it's really, really difficult to say whether or not the digital products are making an impact there. We're trying to now also get reporting about this. But usually, well, we're trying to make sure that everyone who comes to us will find a new job at the end of the day. Some people also go into retirement, or some people will found their own company. So these are also options, but most of them will find a new job.
All right, last question. Yeah, I'm gonna try and throw it.
So what's your overall take on how the job seeking is evolving around AI? Because AI is and the use of computers and machine processing is kind of getting really embedded in the job seeking process, both on both sides. So you have, I mean, I think it's great that you're helping these people, and it's a great service. And using a GPT to help write a cover letter is great, but that cover letter may never even be read by a human because it gets submitted in, and they're using a machine in order to figure out, basically weed through their hundreds of candidates that are going, applying for these jobs. Same with CVs. CVs are, the tools with large language models are good for helping you write clearly, use the right terms. But on the other hand, they may not be read by humans. They're being read by machines. How do you see this all evolving, and how do you see your company fitting into that process or helping in that process?
That's a big question.
Good luck.
I think one of the major challenges is that, which is maybe a little bit unique to our situation, is what I've tried to explain, that these people that are coming to us mostly have not applied in maybe 10 or over 20 years. And so they obviously need a lot of help with these things that probably maybe for you and I are just really normal, right? We would go in and just look online if there's any cover letters, and then we can do it ourselves. But I think that these kind of people do still exist out there. And what we are providing as a service really goes towards these people. And to be honest, they don't really understand what's happening, right? For them, they only care about, do I have a new job at the end of the day? And did von Rundstedt help me? And we have to then make sure that what we're doing and the quality of what we're doing is so good that also the changing world outside of von Rundstedt and how companies expect job recommendations, what they're using, application tracking systems, that this is all working, right? But for the user at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They just want a new job. And so this is what we're trying to focus on. I know it's maybe a little bit of a short answer to this, but maybe we can chat later. Yeah, this is what I think we're trying to do, and also what we're trying to provide as value to them is to say, well, we will help you through this journey. It doesn't really matter what's happening out there, and we'll make sure you find a new job.
All right, let's give another hand for Kevin and von Rundstedt. And that actually marks the grand finale of tonight's event. We have 4 more talks? No, not tonight. Like, we need to get back home also today. It's been amazing to have all of you and also all the questions. I apologize, but we'll probably act the same also next time in terms of time to question ratio. And that's also why we have the times in between the networking. It's through the talks, we've already have at least 1, if not 2 venues that want to organize ProductTank. So we're going to learn more about the companies and the models and the products that are being built in Düsseldorf and around the area. And you've been great. I also want to give another hand for all of the speakers, and for Trivago for sponsoring us, also for Mark for handling everything and getting, he was the main, let's say, driver for this meetup. So let's give another hand for everyone. And a few more things. So I hope you noticed, right? Like, there were people coming up on stage today speaking for the first time or some of the first time, and we really don't care about that, right? It's like we're meeting friends and we're having a drink and we're talking about things that we can use on building products and actually driving value, right? And building something meaningful. And so don't shy away. We really meant it when we said, like, if you have something that you think is interesting, right, and you have experience and you think it's worth sharing, like people should know about this, right, like please reach out. We're on LinkedIn, we're quite visible. If not, the meetup page is also a way to kind of reach out to us. Let us know. If you also have topics that are interesting for you and you just want to learn more about, let us know. We are looking out also for speakers and potential people that can come and share this knowledge so that you can kind of get ahead in what the amazing stuff that you're trying to do. So with that, we have, I'm not going to make this same mistake twice like I did with the pizza. How much can we crash here until they kick us out? Oh, don't go there. Like, don't tempt me. All right. So it's kind of like a common sense interval there. So feel free to network for open end. The pizza needs to go. So you either eat it or take it or both. It's good. I got recommendations. I got threatened that if this doesn't happen, I have to eat all of it. So like, these don't fit anymore. So I'm like, no. And again, thank you for being such an amazing audience. Thank you for all the questions. We hope this was useful and relevant. And have a crazy evening. Thank you.